Sleep Tokens Take Me Back to Eden marks the final chapter in a trilogy shrouded in mystery, emotion and devotion. This is my personal favourite of the trilogy albums and has 2 of my top 5 Sleep Token songs of all time. Join me as we venture through cryptic lyrics and an ever-evolving soundscape to reach the conclusion of this gripping trilogy. Before we get into the album, if you could leave a like and subscribe, it would mean the world. And if you've been here before, then yes, I have broken this one down already, but my opinions have changed since then. So stick around for some new interpretations with a little hand from the comments section as we begin this album with Chokehold. We enter this album with some loud static, sounding almost like the exact reverse of that which we heard at the end of the previous album with Missing Limbs. When we were made, it was no accident. We were tangled up like branches in a flood. The opening to this song lyrically is implying that Vessel and his lover are made from each other, cut from the same cloth if you will. The reality of the situation is very different though. The man Vessel is today is the one which she has created over the past 2 albums, and that man is a shell of the Vessel that went before. I come as a blade, a sacred guardian, so you keep me sharp and test my worth in blood. Vessel is viewing himself as the protector here. That's a stark contrast to Telomeres on Tomb, which had the woman fulfilling the protector role. He is once again glorifying his role in her life, imagining it to be much more than it actually is in reality. Vessel is positioning himself as if he is a weapon for her to use against the other gods, when in reality, she doesn't want that from Vessel at all. You've got me in a chokehold. Another incredibly simple chorus here. If you've watched the previous 2 videos in this series, this may be the single most blatantly obvious statement that Vessel could have made. It gets a little interesting musically here though, as after the chorus we transition from a slower build into a driving guitar. This feels like an outburst of emotion as Vessel still has disdain for the fact she has this chokehold on him. Beneath the stormy seas, above the mountain peaks, it's all the same to me, it makes no difference. I've seen my days unfold, done the impossible. I'll turn my walls to gold to bring you home again. This is something we have seen a lot throughout the story. Vessel is still out here willing to do absolutely everything to break through with this woman. He's desperate to get to the true love that he believes is buried deep inside her, instead of the mess of hurt and abuse that he's been getting on a regular basis. So show me that which I cannot see, even if it hurts me, even if I can't sleep. Oh, and though we act out of our holy duty to be constantly awake. Like Missing Limbs on the previous album, Vessel is painfully aware of the fact that there are plenty of things about his lover he doesn't know, but he still so desperately wants to. He's fully aware that the consequences of hearing and seeing all of these things could lead to immense pain for him, but he doesn't care. Vessel still loves her so deeply that it would all be worth it. This takes us into one final rendition of the chorus, which is followed up with a repetition of the lines we have just heard to see us out of this track. Nothing much has changed from before. Vessel is still his desperate, self-loathing self, and his lover is still pulling all the strings. Surely he can't keep going on like this. Now we are moving into Sleep Token's most popular song. A song that introduced many to this band and had a chokehold on alternative TikTok for what felt like forever. If you've heard Sleep Token, then you'll have heard this song. But let's take a little look at it in context. I've got a river running right into you. I've got a blood trail, red and the blue. Something you say or something you do, the taste of the divine. Vessel can sense that his lover is hurting, but instead of falling into the protector role, he has a bit more of a vicious streak about him. He's circling like a shark in the water here. So is Vessel trying to drag her down to his level, or attempting to rise and meet her? You've got my body, flesh and bone. Yeah, the sky above, the earth below. Once again, we are seeing Vessel hopelessly devoting himself to her in every possible way. This is starting to feel a little different than before though. Raise me up again, take me past the edge, I want to see the other side. Here we get the answer to the question we asked at the start of the song. Vessel wants to lift himself up to her level, specifically so that he is able to see all of the parts of her which he's not able to from below. He's hoping that by becoming her equal, he can finally connect with her in the pure form that he's been craving. The delivery of these lyrics as well make it sound like he's worshipping her, as we hear Vessel delivering it all in a higher pitch. Won't you show me what it's like? Vessel is looking for his lover to welcome him up to her level and show him around. This is otherwise known as letting him in properly. This is done very interestingly though, as it's repeated twice. The first time is in that higher worship tone like the chorus, but the second time it's screamed, where you can feel the frustration and desperation coming through. What comes next though is a massive switch up musically. After a breakdown and a little quiet moment of downtime, Sleep Token hit us with a funky, sexy bass line where Vessel kicks it up a notch. Owen, my love, did I mistake you for a sign from God? Or are you really here to cast me off? Or maybe just to turn me on? Vessel is laying on thick, feeding into her ego in an attempt to win her over. For all we have seen this before, this doesn't feel the same. Instead of looking up at her from below, this time he's looking to his side, seeing her as an equal. Gone are the days of him looking up like a little bug waiting to be stepped on and crushed. Vessel is finally starting to value himself a little, because these days I would be lying if I told you that I didn't wish that I could be your man, or maybe make a good girl bad. You can only imagine what TikTok did with this part of the song. Vessel lays out exactly what he is looking for here, in the most plain and simple way possible, so there is no room for her to misinterpret it at all. He wants to be with this woman. The funky beat continues as the lyrics loop back round to the start as we get a repetition of the opening verse. To close, we get a little twist on some lyrics that we've heard before. You've got my body, flesh and bone, the sky above, the earth below. Nothing to say and nowhere to go, the taste of the divine. It's almost a perfect repetition, which summarises where we are perfectly. The cycle is still there, but fractures are beginning to show. We will slowly see them play out in the rest of this album. We return to the bitterness that we've seen from Vessel before. Sticking on theme with this album though, it's not coming from quite as far below her as it was before. It feels as though slowly but surely the power dynamic is beginning to balance out. For now, the woman is still ahead. Sulphur on your breath, granite in my chest. You won't ever have to talk about it. You'll never want to talk about it. Vessel really does love his science metaphors, doesn't he? This one is very simple though. A sulphur dissolves granite. This leaves us with the metaphor as to how vicious her attacks with her words have been. As if they just dissolve the love that Vessel has in his heart for this woman. I was more than just a body in your passenger seat, and you were more than just somebody I was destined to meet. I see you go half blind when you're looking at me, but I am. Vessel feels that he is more than just a sidekick in her story, and that he is in fact destined to be in her life in the future. Between the second-hand smoke and the glass on the street, you gave me nothing whatsoever but a reason to leave. You say you want me, but you know I'm not what you need, but I am. She gives Vessel absolutely nothing. There's really no reason for him to stick around. However, as he's valuing himself more and more, he's becoming less susceptible to her power over him. Vessel is gradually having less and less of a reason to stick around and continue to tolerate how she treats him. We're also getting some strong flashbacks to the love you want here, with the woman's more vulnerable side showing. She's still failing to admit to herself that they are meant to be together. When you'd sit there acting like you know me, acting like you only brought me in to get below me. Never mind the death threats parting at the door, we'd rather be 6 feet under than be lonely. The woman is still trying to play their relationship down, saying that she only wants Vessel for sex and to feed off of. That doesn't run anymore though, as Vessel calls her bluff here, calling out that she'd suffer from loneliness without him. And if you had a problem, then you should have told me. Before he started getting all aggressive and controlling. You only drink the water when you think it's holy, so keep an eye on the road or we will both be here forever. We see the climax of this escalation, where Vessel makes the threat. Wake up or nothing is ever going to change. The song closes on some repetitions of the chorus lyrically. However, musically, it's a bit different. The earlier choruses are softer and almost letting her away with it gently, but that's about to change. A minute from the end, we get that outburst of emotion in the form of a breakdown, which is followed by a much heavier rendition of the chorus. Vessel really wants to hammer home his message here. He won't tolerate this much longer. Is this the turning point we've been waiting for? Before we jump into Aqua Regia, a quick reminder, it would be amazing if you could subscribe to the channel. It helps keep these breakdowns coming and means the absolute world. Let's go ahead and earn it by getting into Aqua Regia. Vessel decides to get a little cultured on us here and gives us some Italian. When translated back to English, Aqua Regia is royal water. What's so important about royal water, you may ask? It completely dissolves gold. You can probably see where this song is going already. Well, my love is an animal call, cutting through the darkness, bouncing off the walls. Between teeth on a broken jaw, following a blood trail frothing at the maw. This is an interesting switch up, as we see Vessel presenting himself as a vicious predator, ready to strike at any moment. This is a role we've only seen Vessel take on for a very brief moment at the start of the summoning. Instead of just accepting his fate or grovelling desperately for any scrap of attention, we now see Vessel with other desires out with this toxic relationship. These days I'm a circuit board, integrated hardware you cannot afford. This is the beginning of what will be a long list of metaphors and analogies circled around technology. Vessel is continuing to value himself more and more. He's straight up telling her that she doesn't deserve the love and affection that he has for her. The perfect start to a perfect war, putting down the roses, picking up the sword. Previously on tracks such as Higher, we've seen the woman accuse Vessel of being equally responsible as her for the fights in the relationship. This right here is different. Vessel finally has the courage and self-respect to stand up for himself. He's ready to look her in the eye, stand toe-to-toe with her as an equal, and defend himself. We get a brief moment in between the first two verses where Aqua Regia is repeated twice. Is he finally ready to become the Aqua Regia and dissolve what's left between them? Well, my past is a holy book, a call from Olympus ringing off the hook. Between the pain and the way you look, I'm stuck in a time where the mountains shook. Mount Olympus is the mythical home of the gods, which fits very well in our story. Vessel sees his past as if the gods had been trying to get a hold of him. The issue is, because he was laser focused on his lover, he never took that call. Now though, he's ready to answer, as Vessel is building himself up as more of a force to be reckoned with as this album progresses. We finally get to our chorus, which has a lot of short, sharp sentences. Vessel's trying to get straight to the point, and I love this from him. Aqua Regia, oxytocin running in the ether, silicon ballrooms, subatomic interactions if it's all good. Science class is back in session again very briefly. Oxytocin is a hormone responsible for empathy and attachment towards others. For me, we're back on technology again, as this is a direct attack at how we all engage with each other these days. The ether he mentions would be the internet, which is of course the main place a lot of people communicate now. These days a lot of personal relations feel much colder than before. The connections just don't feel as real as they used to, and that's exactly what Vessel is alluding to here. Gold rush, acid flux. Saturate me, I can't get enough. Cold love, hot blood running to your heart when you're thinking of. There's quite a few instances throughout this song and others where Vessel refers to himself as gold. This is a very dangerous game to be playing when he's referring to her as Aqua Regia. Even the new golden Vessel we are seeing is still hers. He's still something that she can dissolve and manipulate at her own convenience. This leads us into the bridge, where Vessel doubles down on his feelings about technology. Oh, and when I am done dancing to alarm bells, no wonder my ears are still ringing. And I am done fighting off change, no wonder my arms are still swinging. These alarm bells he speaks of are notifications on his phone. He's still left with the residual impact of the notification even after dealing with it. The second half of this bridge has us back at acceptance all over again. Vessel is done holding back the person he is destined to be. He's setting that side of him free. Since that's all he knows, Vessel still looks to fight it, but he's able to ground himself and get back at it again. The chorus rings through one final time to see out this track. We can feel the power dynamic beginning to shift here. Vessel's strength is only growing with every track. Can he maintain the control he's finally taken over his life, or will he fall back into that same old vicious cycle that we're all too familiar with? Now this is a rather intriguing song title. The best way I can describe it, that YouTube will stay happy with, is when you get a special kind of pleasure out of either being consumed or by consuming another person. It seems a little odd at the moment, but once we get into the song, hopefully it will start to make some more sense. You have become the voice in my head. Only recourse were left after death. Your viscera welcomes me in. Oh, did I forget to mention this is Sleep Token's heaviest song? The entire opening of this track is screamed in some brutal, harsh vocals. We're almost back at Offering or Sugar era of Vessel here. However, instead of it just being a bite, he's now expressing a desire to be consumed entirely. Even if he were to die, he would still want her to take absolutely everything she can from him. The heavily screamed delivery of this, matched with the driving instrumentals, really shows how desperate Vessel is. He's doing anything he can to get her attention. My life is torn, my bones they bleed. My metaphors fall short in the end. Your flesh and bone welcome me in, welcome me in. This is a bold manipulation tactic here, and this time it's coming from Vessel instead of his lover. Vessel is putting himself down to make his lover believe that he needs her even more. She's still more than willing to play the role of saviour and let Vessel in, at least for now. The music cuts back as we hear Vessel whisper, "Are you in pain like I am?" He's looking to relate to his lover in any way he can think of. He wants her to understand how he feels. He wants to be with her forever. Vessel follows this up with the first clean vocals of this track. This is very intentional, as it's a moment of composure and a whirlwind of emotion. Vessel wants to make sure she hears this. While we remain stuck in the throat of gods, will the pain stop if we go deeper? This is a little plot twist. This feeling would appear to be reciprocal. Unfortunately, that's not quite the case. It's just Vessel self-inserting himself into her life with more purpose once again. He doubles down on this as we transition into the chorus. So let's get swallowed whole. I want to go where nobody else will ever go. We are right back at Vessel expressing his desire to see every aspect of her. But I see a cheeky little double meaning here. First, we have the meaning we're all too familiar with. The want to see sides of her nobody else has. The second meaning is a little more subtle though. Vessel wants to ascend past her to new heights that neither of them have ever seen before. A bold move, as there's no mention of taking her with him. That brief moment of composure comes to an end as we're catapulted back into another verse packed full of harsh vocals. Walls of flesh so warm again, we step into my suffering. My only need, welcome me in, welcome me in. This verse is simple yet intricate. Looking at the lyrics, they offer the themes we've already encountered on this track. The key part to focus on is the difference between what Vessel's saying and how he's saying it. He's asking for warmth, comfort, and to be let in. But instead of just asking nicely, he's having an emotional breakdown. This won't get him anywhere, but he's exhausted all other options. Just after this verse, the music cuts once again, and the refrain that follows backs up that verse perfectly. There is always something in the way. I want to have you to myself for once. Follow me between the jaws of fate so I can have you to myself for once. This wraps up this track perfectly. Any loose ends or doubt on this track have all evaporated in a few simple lines. Vessel has given himself a bigger role in her story than he actually has once again. However, the interesting part is that Vessel sees his mortal self as holding him back. He wants to ascend beyond it and become a god just like her, as this is the only way he feels he can truly connect with her. After another repetition of the chorus, in the first half of the refrain, we approach the outro to this track, where Vessel has a last-ditch attempt at finding this mythical emotional side of hers. He screams out into the void, "Are you in pain like I am?" All of the pain, all of the anguish release in this scream. Let me know if you get that reference from the comments below. The man just wants to be loved. It's really that simple. The return to the harsh vocals is perfect, as it aids the raw emotion and lack of rationale behind it all. I really feel for Vessel here, and if you don't, then you may just be a psychopath. This track feels like an emotional peak, yet we're not even halfway through this album, and the best is yet to come. This song holds an incredibly special place in my heart, as it is one I've related to a lot personally. Even with the new album, this is still one of my favourite Sleep Token songs out of the lot of them, so hopefully I can do it justice. This song right here is the turning point of everything, so let's dive into it. We enter the song on a gentle piano once again. Well, I know what you want from me. You want someone to be. Your reflection, your bitter deception setting you free. So you take what you want and leave. This is a very telling start to the song, as we have a combination of everything we have seen so far. We have the bitterness, we have the awareness, but the key change here is that we have a sense of superiority coming from Vessel as he looks down on her and judges her. She looks pathetic to him now. She does exactly what she always does and gets no joy out of it as per usual. Who made you like this? Who encrypted your dark gospel in body language? Vessel is questioning her on why she is the way that she is. Why does she pretend to be this dark, evil monster when in reality she's just hurt and craving love just like Vessel himself. Vessel was spot on with the love you want, and he's maybe only now realising just how right he was. I would actually love to see a prequel album on how this woman came to be the way that she is. We have an age-old saying of hurt people, so let me know what you think of that idea in the comments down below. Synapses snap back in blissful anguish. Tell me you met me in past lives, past lie, past what might be eating me from the inside, darling. Pain and pleasure give us that gorgeous contradiction once again. Through those powerful emotions, Vessel still can't escape this fixation with knowing more about her. This woman must be the greatest enigma of all time. Half algorithm, half deity. Glitches in the code or gaps in a strange dream. Here's our next technological theme. This time though, we're comparing growth and change. Just like modern technology, he is evolving exponentially and growing into the man he wants to become. When it comes to his lover though, she's stagnated like classic mythology has, and he is rapidly overtaking her. Tell me you guessed my future and it mapped onto your fantasy. Turn me into your mannequin and I'll turn you into my puppet queen. Vessel is seeing his lover for what she truly is once again. Notice that he said guessed. This shows just how much the divinity he once saw in her has truly faded, and it confirms how far he's came too, as this is something that Sundowning Vessel would never have done in a million years. All of the songs so far has been what I can almost describe as like talk rapping. The key part for me is him just letting his mind spill out here. These are raw, unfiltered thoughts we're getting. Won't you come and dance in the dark with me? Show me what you are, I am desperate to know. Nobody better than the perfect enemy. Digital demons make the night feel heavenly. Despite all this strength, Vessel still wants her. He still craves that intimacy. He still wants to see the sides of her that nobody else has. All of those feelings still linger. Make it real, because anything's better than the way I feel right now. I can offer you a blacklit paradise, diamonds in the trees, pentagrams in the night sky. He still wants her to truly love him. He knows that the sex will be good, but he still craves more. I love the last line here though. It's as if he's standing in a forest, he looks up and sees all the beautiful diamonds in the trees. However, right behind them in the night sky, the warning signs are all there. I couldn't think of a more perfect summary of his lover. On the surface, there's a diamond, but in context, there's way more pentagrams to look out for. Lipstick, chemtrails, red flags, pink nails, with one eye on the door, other eye on a rail, while the other eye following a scarlet trail and the last few drops from the Holy Grail now. This might be my favourite part of any Sleep Token song lyrically, with the strong juxtaposition between the sexy lipstick and pink nails to the dangerous red flags and chemtrails. The eyes is interesting, as he alludes to there being a third eye, which is typically seen to be that of intuition and foresight. It's the third eye which is seeing reality. It sees the danger that lies directly ahead, even if it is mixed in with the last few positive memories. After this verse comes to a close, we are treated to the bridge, where in the back of the mix we hear a repetition of diamonds in the trees, pentagrams in the night skies. This repeats until we hit our breaking point, where it is repeated one final time. This time though, it is at the front of the mix. And immediately afterwards, this track explodes into life. A euphoric instrumental carries the emotion of this track onwards until there's a pause, and all we hear is static. Just when you thought it was over, you get shocked back into life with an even heavier, gent-style instrumental. Right in the middle of this part, the music cuts for a brief moment, as Vessel aggressively screams out, "You're gonna watch me ascend." This is the moment we've been waiting for. Vessel is finally stamping his mark. She has no choice but to sit back and watch as he outgrows her and ascends beyond her. She has shown him enough of her for Vessel to have learned from her, but still not enough for him to trust her. The fact Vessel decides to scream this line and follow it up with another breakdown makes it feel like he's some kind of crazy anime villain who starts floating up into the sky as he says it. The reality is him calling out to her, frustrated that she's unwilling to help him or help herself and join him in ascending. The breakdown stops and we quieten right back down to the piano again, with full focus on what Vessel is about to say. "And I know what you want from me. You want the same as me, my redemption, eternal ascension, setting me free. So I'll take what I want, then leave." This is the true turning point right here. It almost mirrors the introduction to this song, but this time we have Vessel being entirely selfish. For once, he takes exactly what he wants and is prepared to leave her in the dust afterwards. This doesn't mean he feels good about it though. This line is followed by another incredible outburst of emotion where the breakdown drop is synced to Vessel just screaming out into the void, "You make me wish I could disappear." This wasn't his first choice, but he's been left with no other options. He has to look out for himself for once. We close out on some heavy guitar before eventually this incredible emotional roller coaster comes to an end. This song has an incredibly deep connection to a lot of the fans out there, and the last thing I want to do is taint that at all. So please remember that this is just within the context of this story. Out with that, this song has some incredibly profound and sincere messages. With that said, I believe this is a song from the woman's perspective. This is her final masterful attempt at manipulating Vessel before it's too late, with a single clean guitar playing us in. "I raised you in the dark, caught you reading by the sunrise. You wandered from the path through the silence of the hillside." This is a reference to Dark Signs, where we hear about Vessel's upbringing and where he was before he met the woman. You know, that state which Vessel consistently references wanting to go back to. This is her attempting to remind him of who he was when she met him, how weak, hurt and pathetic he really was before her, and he has her to thank for the fact that he's finally ascending. "And don't you know I could see it in you even then, and don't you know I was trying to hold back the darkness." She's trying to convince Vessel that she was doing absolutely everything she could to try and help him out of the dark place he was in. She really believes that she is the reason why he's stronger now. It's now time for the big question on this track, which is delivered in a short and sweet chorus. And are you really okay? Are you really okay? Is he really sure he is ready to go on without her? After all, she is the only reason he's strong, right? That's her point of view anyway. The question is, does Vessel believe that too? We'll find that out soon, but for now, we stick with his lover's perspective. "You woke me up one night, dripping crimson on the carpet. I saw it in your eyes, cutting deeper than the scars could run." This is a reference back to the attempt at ending everything we saw Vessel have on Atlantic. A tragic moment he probably doesn't want to be reminded of, but she doesn't care. "And don't you know I can see it in you even now? And don't you know I want to help you, but I don't know how?" This is where the emotions all come to a front. The driving guitars come in an ethereal fashion to show she's all in on emotion here. The issue is, she's only being emotional to aid her cause, not to be there for Vessel. She's really playing her entire hand here. She's using references from all the way through the relationship, which we've learned about in the previous albums. She's not using them for good though, only to try and manipulate him one final time into realising just how good she really was to him. That's her perspective anyway, we all know otherwise. And I cannot fix your wounds this time, but I don't believe me when you tell me you are fine. Please don't hurt yourself again. The song slows right back down for this part, showing her cooling off emotionally a bit and attempting to come across as sincere as possible. This ending is incredibly open-ended and there is a lot of potential options here. For me, there is a hint of sincerity, but there's also a much more sinister motive. That would be her trying to convince Vessel that she's the only person who tries to help him, and that it's not her fault that she doesn't have the answers to all of his problems. This entire song for me is just one final Hail Mary manipulation attempt to try and make Vessel believe that he still needs her. Does it work though? Let's find out on the Apparition. A lot of people who follow this storyline believe that the previous track was from Vessel's perspective. This track right here is what cemented my opinion that it wasn't. This is Vessel's reply to the previous song. It's another slow starter, but we enter immediately on the lyrics this time. Why are you never real? Whenever you appear, you leave me with that grace. I am trembling with fear, but I know that you will disappear, just as I awake, whisper in my ear. Vessel realises that the caring and loving side of her that he sees is not real. He sees this side of her in his dreams and his fantasies, but as soon as he wakes up, he's left with the cold, hard truth of reality. The woman lying next to him is a cold, manipulative monster. Well, I believe somewhere in the past, something was between you and I, my dear, and it remains with me to this day. No matter what I do, the scar will never fade. At some point in their history, it seems as though there was a genuine connection. Any semblance of that is long gone now, and all that Vessel is left with is the pain of what could have been. So let's make trouble in the dream world, hijack heaven with another memory now, and make the most of the turning tide as just split what's left of the burning silence. The track picks up a little in speed here, almost into this spoken rap style again. Vessel's feelings towards her are raw and unfiltered once more. In Vessel's dream world, they're fun, potentially even rebellious. The reality, unfortunately, is cold silence, filled with thoughts of what could have been. Don't wait, because this could be the last time you turn up in the reveries of my mind. I wake up to a suicide frenzy. Loaded dreams still leave me empty. The power she has on him continues to fade away. These dreams Vessel has of himself and his lover working out are tormenting Vessel. The moment he wakes up and it's not real, it eats him up inside. Vessel still wants her, but he isn't willing to accept her how she is. This track really makes time fly, and before you know it, we're back to the chorus, but this time with a little twist. Well, I believe somewhere in the past, something was between you and I, my dear, and it remains with me to this day. No matter what I do, these wounds will never heal. A minor change, but with the same message. This time, they're even more raw though. They've not even healed into scars. Why are you never real? This shifting state you follow me through, unrevealed. Just let me go or take me with you. Here it is. We've been building musically to the big guitar drop, and with it comes what we've been waiting for this entire story, the ultimatum. You either let Vessel ascend with you or set him free to ascend by himself. Either way, he isn't going to be below her for long. This saga is coming to its climax. This big jumble of letters stands for Do You Wish That You Loved Me? You can probably tell where this one is going already by the title alone, so let's just get into it. Do you roll with the waves or do you duck into deep blue safety? Is it always the same? Do you wish that you loved me? We're back on the aquatic theme from Tomb. We have Vessel asking if she is willing to go with the flow of events in the present day, or if she would rather just hide in the past. He wonders if anything ever actually changes with how she goes about her life. To round off, Vessel drops a killer question for the first time. Do you pull at the chains, or do you push into constant aching? Each and every day, do you wish that you loved me? Does she actually want to change at all? Or is she just happy with the misery that they are both living in? Again, followed up with the all-important question. He's not going to let her wriggle her way out of answering this one. Is there something you give that you will never receive in return? Do you know what it is? Do you wish that you loved me? Has she ever done a single selfless act in her life? Has she ever done anything out of love or care for anybody else? Vessel questions her character here while still not letting her away with that final question. It's almost feeling like an interrogation of her character, and I'm absolutely loving it. Are you trying to live like everything is a lesson to learn? Can you ever forgive yourself? Do you wish that you loved me? Has she shown the slightest hint of change or any kind of plan to do so? The biggest question here for me is, can she actually live with herself and how she treats people? If how she treats Vessel is anything to go off, that might be tough. And my reflection just won't smile back at me like I know it should, and I would turn into a stranger in an instant if I could. This is the only verse in the song where he's not directly asking questions of her. Instead, Vessel looks inwards and assesses where he is at in his life now. He's still noting that desire to want to be somebody else while he's at it, and there is something eating keeping me alive, I don't know what it is. Maybe not that you conceal your feelings, they just don't exist. He's clinging on to the delusion that she really does care for him and that it's real. The reality of the situation is it's not. Even if it were to be functionally real, she doesn't show any affection whatsoever, so it might as well not be. Do you ever believe that we can turn into different people? It's getting harder to be myself. Do you wish that you loved me? Vessel doesn't actually want to leave her behind because he does love her. The issue is, for him to take her along on this journey, she needs to be willing to change. Something that she has shown plenty of times won't be happening. Vessel wants to be someone new, but she isn't showing any signs of following suit at all. Can we ever release? Is it better to just not feel? Can we hit delete? Do you wish that you loved me? Will they ever get past all this tension between them? In the end, it might just be better to feel nothing at all. Scrap that. Why not just erase it all from memory and go back to the people they were before? Anything but what they have right now. And I've tried so hard to fix it all, but nothing seems to help. But I cannot hope to give you what I cannot give myself. Vessel finally understands that he can't keep destroying himself to make her happy. Simply put, an unhappy person cannot bring true happiness to someone else. He needs to leave her in order to ascend beyond the man that he is right now. The reality of this song is everything would have been so much easier, and this song would have been very different if you did just love him back. So I guess one large question remains unanswered. Do you wish that you loved me? The reality of the situation is simple. It's not to be. Vessel is now prepared to make one final appeal before he just accepts that it is well and truly over. For so long I have waited, so long that I almost became just a stoic statue fit for nobody, and I don't want to get in your way. He's held on to this hope the entire time that he's known her, but it's time to face reality. They are not going to work, and Vessel needs to try and salvage whatever is left of himself. But I finally think I can say that the vicious cycle was over the moment you smiled at me. The love he feels for her is still there and very real. Even seeing her smile can brighten up his whole day, but it's just not enough when that's all that's there. Vessel needs more from her, and just like the rain, you cast the dust into nothing and wash out the salt from my hands. So touch me again, I feel my shadow dissolving, while you cleanse me with pleasure. This calls back to some of the themes from Atlantic. Vessel is looking to be cleansed of his past once more, and to be pulled away from the darkness and depression he was in when they met. It's that chemical cut that I can get down with, up like the moon and out like the hounds. A dangerous disposition somehow, refracted in light, reflected in sound. A little callback to Sundowning here. The werewolf analogy we get is a tie back to the different feelings Vessel has towards his lover when he's asleep and when he's awake. The analogy that follows here is perfect. It might look like some things have improved on the surface, but when you really pay attention, it's still exactly the same. I'm coiled up like the venomous serpent, tangled in your trance, and I'm certain you have got your hooks in me. We have another callback, but this time it's more to the style of language that we saw in the summoning. Vessel is seeing himself as a weapon for her to wield. This is him playing to her ego in this way one final time. And I know the way that it goes. You get what you give, you reap what you sow, and I can see you in my fate. Maybe after everything that they've put each other through, they truly deserve each other now. Maybe they really are made for each other and cut from the same cloth. And I know I am what I am. The mouth of the wolf, the eyes of the lamb. So darling, will you saturate? Vessel is having a little self-reflection here. He may look innocent on the surface, but deep down, he is a vicious streak. Does he really though, or is he just trying to relate to his lover? This leads us into another rendition of the chorus before the song approaches its climax with the bridge. Nobody can say for certain if maybe it's all just a game. When I open my eyes to the future, I can hear you say my name. He does still see a future for them despite everything they have been through. Vessel just needs his lover to be willing to change and to embrace the new power dynamic. And here it is, the outro where we finally reach the climax of this track. So rain down on me. This is his final plea for her to give him everything she has got. Soak him through to the core with the real her. By this point, we all know it's not going to happen though. Vessel is just wasting his breath, talking to a brick wall as we head into the penultimate track of this album. This is it, the grand finale of the story, as the final song is, as always, a little summary of everything. How can this all end? Let's find out. I dream in phosphorescence, bleed through spaces, see you drifting past the fog, but no one told you where to go. Vessel is letting her go at last, and she is slowly drifting away from him like a hot air balloon. He knows that she will be lost without him, but he cannot keep this going any longer due to her unwillingness to change. Vessel has to be selfish and do what's right for him. The fact that this opening portion of the song has the echo as well makes it sound like it's a choir singing at worship. This will come into play later with some of the lyrics that we'll see. We dive through crystal waters, perfect oceans, but no one told me not to breathe. And now the weightlessness recedes. We are revisiting another metaphor from Tomb here. Vessel is getting into deeper and deeper waters, but he was unaware of the fact that it could drown him. He's on his last gasp of oxygen, but he's making his way back up to the surface for more now. Let's just hope it's not too late. My, those eyes like fire. I'm a winged insect, you're a funeral pyre. His affection for this woman has not changed. He's still like a moth to her flame, destined for pain. The difference now is his want for her alone is not enough. Come now, bite through these wires. I'm awaking hell and the gods grow tired. Reset my patient violence along both lines of a pathway higher. Grow back your sharpest teeth, you know my desire. Vessel is once again taunting her to take a bite into him, but this time it's also he can take her down with it. He's finally ready to take her on. I will travel far beyond the path of reason. Take me back to Eden, take me back to Eden. This right here is the moment we've been waiting for this entire album. The ascension is happening right in front of her eyes. Vessel is actively becoming more than he ever was and more than she ever has been. We feel this musically as well as the rip-roaring guitars come through once again, and we feel Vessel's power rising with the music. He has this moment with the heavy, gent-infused instrumental before it cuts, and we transition back into another spoken rap style flow for the second verse. Well yeah, I spit blood when I wake up. Sink porcelain stained, choking on brain matter and makeup. Just 2 days since the mainframe went down, and I'm still messed up. This shows just how brutal the process of ascending was for Vessel. It wasn't quick, and it wasn't easy. It was blood, sweat, and tears mentally. It will all be worth it in the end though. He's not fully there yet, but he's on the rise still. White roses, black doves. Godmother, rise up. I need you to see me for what I have become. The woman only knows Vessel as fragile, broken Vessel. She's yet to see just how strong and powerful Vessel can fully be, and what threat that could pose to her should the clash. We slow it back down again as Vessel is ready to tell us of the lessons he has learned throughout the process. I guess it goes to show, does it not, that we've no idea what we've got until we lose it, and no amount of love will keep it around if we don't choose it. If she wanted Vessel's love, then it was always there for the taking. This time, it's too late for her, since she actively did not choose it. And I don't know what's got its teeth in me, but I'm about to bite back in anger. No amount of self-sought fury will bring back the glory of innocence. Vessel has finally broken free and has left her behind. He is now strong enough to push away, and she is too weak to resist. However, Vessel knows fine well that the impact that she's had on him will never leave him now. Unfortunately for Vessel, it still means he can never go back to being the man he was before. When we were made, it was no accident. We were tangled up like branches in a flood. This is a callback to Chokehold at the beginning of this album and the symbol of hope that he had. He does have hope now, but instead of it being for them as a couple, it's for him on his own. I have travelled far beyond the path of reason. Take me back to Eden, take me back to Eden. Vessel shows off his true strength here, as some harsh vocals demand your attention to see out this track. We round off this story with confirmation that he has officially moved past her. Vessel's ascension is complete. I don't even know where to begin with this one. This is the true ending of it all. The final song of the final album in this trilogy. I'll be incredibly open and honest with you all here. Up until the latest album, this was my favourite Sleep Token song. I don't know if I can quite put into words why, but I'm gonna try. This song just makes me feel in ways that no other song ever has. I don't mean feelings no other song has, I just mean feel so much towards a song. For me, Ascensionism was a very difficult song to write about, but this just feels almost impossible. I'm still going to try and do my best, and hopefully I can do this masterpiece justice. Practically every single line in this song is a reference to somewhere else. I'm pointing out some, but I'm sure I'll miss some too. So let me know in the comments what I miss. One final time, we come in on a gentle piano. Just run it back, give me 5 whole minutes. This feels like the beginning to a voice note you send to somebody that was difficult for you to say, and you know it will be difficult for them to listen to as well. My favourite thing about this line is, as soon as it's delivered, there is exactly 5 minutes of the song left to go. They never fail to blow my mind with the attention to detail. If my fate is a bad collision, and if my mind is an open highway, give me the Twilight two-way vision, give me one last ride on a sunset skyline. Vessel's pretty much saying that if this is where our story ends, let's make it one hell of a final chapter. The music pauses for a moment and we're left with just an echo of Vessel's voice. Call me when you get the chance. I can feel the walls around me closing in. He has a moment of weakness where he misses her. He's aware and open about it, but he's not as vulnerable to it in the same way he was before. The music kicks back in and we progress with the song. Just running forwards a life like wires as I see the past on an empty ceiling. For all Vessel has moved beyond the woman, he's still nostalgic for the time they spent together. Even in the darkest of relationships, there are glimmers of hope. and some amazing memories that will be left behind. Yet in reverse you are all my symmetry, parallel I would lay my life on. So if your wings won't find you heaven, I will bring it down like an ancient bygone. This is where the title of the song comes from. Euclid was a mathematician that is famous for his work in geometry, so symmetry and parallels link in perfectly. Back to the lore though, and we see that Vessel still feels that he wants to protect her. He still wants to provide for her and to see her happy. We pause the music one final time and go back to a similar structure we saw before. Call me when you have the time, I just need to leave this part of me behind. Vessel wants to have a proper conversation with her to get the real closure that he needs. That's never an easy chat, but it's an essential conversation to have. Do you remember me when the rain gathers? And do you still believe that nothing else matters? This is a reference back to Bloodsport here, as he still questions what hold he still has over her. Does she still think of him regularly, as he clearly still thinks of her all the time? I love how we get the outbursts of emotion through short moments of guitar here, but it all stops so we can clearly hear what Vessel is saying. This highlights just how important these lyrics are. There's no chance of missing them. For me, it's still the autumn leaves, these ancient canopies we used to lay beneath. Here we have Vessel reminiscing over the good times they had together, those moments of light I was referencing earlier. The night belongs to you. This bow has broken through. I must be someone new. We finally have true acceptance and he is ready to move on. We feel it in the music as the instrumental feels like a flood of emotion that has been building throughout this entire trilogy. Not only that, but we also feel it lyrically as we go all the way to the beginning of Sundowning. This time, instead of trying to take part in her life, he's accepting and content with letting her go on and claim the night. There's also a reference all the way back to Sleep Token's first EP1 with When the Bow Breaks. For now though, Vessel has all the freedom and power to become that new man. The whites of your eyes turn black in the low light, and turning divine we tangle endlessly. Like lovers entwined, I know for the last time, you will not be mine, so give me the night, the night, the night. If you watched the video where I covered Sundowning, or know the album yourself, then you will know this is a callback to where it all began. Track 1, The Night Does Not Belong to God. This is word for word the outro to that song, meaning that we have came full circle, except this time it takes on a new meaning. Instead of Vessel putting her on a pedestal and worshipping her, he's outgrown her. No more knowing the feelings aren't reciprocated and being desperate for one night. Now, he would take a night for old time's sake, but is perfectly happy leaving it at that. One thing is for sure though, this time he really does know for the last time that she will not be his, as he does not want it anymore either. There you have it everybody, what an emotional journey we have been on here. I have been through it on my end writing this all up, so I can't even begin to imagine how Vessel must have felt writing and performing all of this incredibly emotional music. Whether you've watched the entire series or just this one video, I'd like to say a massive thank you to anybody who's tuned in. I've loved hearing your guys' favourite songs, different interpretations, and what the band means to you as a whole. Don't run away just yet though, as if you missed it, I have covered the rest of their albums. That does include This Place Will Become Your Tomb, which you can see on screen now. If you enjoyed this breakdown, then be sure to subscribe to the channel, and why not leave a like while you're down there. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.